guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is one I have been wanting to make for probably 2 years, honestly, since I started raising chickens. Update, I'm no longer pregnant. I had my baby. I just really stink at uploading videos, and so there you go. Big time hop, in case you wondered about that. This is a chicken episode, and you're thinking about getting chickens, and you want chickens, and so you're trying to do all your research, or maybe you're not, but I think you should be, so here you are. So today's video is kind of like my first video of kind of a series, if you will, about chickens. I love my girls, and I just want to share information. I have a lot of chicken knowledge, I feel like, and a lot of people liked my sauerkraut video, so I thought I would kind of start a series of So You Want Chickens and do a couple of episodes, because I have a few things I want to talk about, and it's just too much to put into one video. No one wants to watch an hour video. So the first thing I think you have to decide when you're thinking about chickens is how you want to get started. Do you want to start with babies? Do you want to start with chicks? Or do you want to start with adults? That's going to determine some pretty big paths for you. I've done both. When I originally started, I started with adults. So this video is going to primarily be about starting with adults. I'll talk about chicks maybe in a later episode. So I started with adults. They were all almost laying age. Typically, hens are going to lay in the early 20-week-ish range if they're hens, or you might have gotten roosters. That's another thing you need to decide on is, do you want a rooster in your flock? How big of a flock do you want? If you ever start doing research about chickens, you'll start seeing something called chicken math, which is just a term for us chicken wranglers, meaning if you have 16 chickens and someone asks you how many chickens you have, you say 8, because it's extremely easy to just kind of start adding in chickens and you don't really notice. My flock is pretty small, so I feel like I haven't really gotten to chicken math yet, but I could see myself getting there. So that's the first thing, is you need to decide how you're going to get started and who you want to start with. The second one, why chickens? What makes you want chickens? Are you trying to, what is your purpose, I guess? When I decided, I never thought in a million years I would want chickens, because then you think about chickens, they're kind of ugly. Well, when I used to think about them, because you think of like just the typical chicken, and for some reason I made this shift of wanting chickens. I really am into the homestead, farmstead, living off the land kind of lifestyle, and I would like for my family to kind of gravitate more towards that as much as we can. So that's what interests me in them. I'm outside right now, obviously at my coop, and this is my favorite time of day. This is like the golden hour where the sun is like set behind the tree, so it's not like blasting your retinas anymore. Everyone's kind of coming in from ranging for the day, as long as they lived, which I'll talk about at a different time. And they just are talking a lot, looking for snacks, things like that. So this is one of my favorite times of why I have chickens, because they are so soothing. And they're not soothing all the time. So I will say, it's not 100% of the time. But I live for like little pockets of moments like this, especially when we're in quarantine, right? So we're in the middle of a pandemic. Hopefully looking back on this video someday, I can explain to my kids what this means and what a pandemic was. But they're giving me, these chickens are giving me life and kind of a reason to be outside, and I'm thankful that we have this land so that we have something to do right now, because man, quarantine is super cool. The whining is the super tough German Shepherd. So figure out your purpose. Why do you want chickens? Are you wanting them for meat? Are you wanting them for eggs? Are you wanting them for companions? Are you wanting them just because you want to say you have chickens? I don't know. I don't know what your purpose is. My purpose is I love having eggs. I love walking out here, getting my eggs and walking back. I've not thought about buying eggs once in the past 2 years since I've gotten chickens, which is just really cool. I think you kind of take that for granted, and when all this quarantine started and there was an egg shortage, it didn't even cross my mind, which I felt really grateful for, and I was able to then help give people eggs too. So I don't know, figure out your purpose and figure out if it's enough of a reason for you to raise chickens, because they do take work. I don't want to say they're super low maintenance. They're lower maintenance than maybe a dog, but they definitely take work because you've got a lot of different personalities, and chickens are brutal. One of my videos will be about the things people never told me about chickens, and one of them is they are a-holes, man. So we'll talk about that later. Number 3, your breeds. Do you care? Do you care what kind of chickens you have? Do you care what they look like? Do you care about their egg color? Is it something that's important to you? It's important to me. I have a very diverse flock. I don't want anybody that looks the same just because I think they look cool. I want different colored eggs. I want it to look like an Easter basket all the time. And so yeah, that's important to me. So right now I have a Buff Orpington, I have an Americana, an Easter egger. Well, someone told me she was an Americana. She's an Easter egger, I can tell. Which, different video, different time. I have a Bantam, and I have 2 Silkies, and I have a Speckled Sussex. So they all lay different eggs. I have a green egg layer, a blue egg layer, a pink egg layer, and then brown. And not like a deep brown, like the typical tan, free-ranging looking egg. So that's important to me. And then you have to kind of know about their temperaments too. I have 2 Silkies. They're very docile. They don't stand up for themselves. It really makes me mad because I like to raise like strong, confident girls, and they are not that. So just accept your chickens for who they are, but decide if breeds are important to you and egg color is important to you. Number 4, research. Research. I can't say this enough. I said it in my sauerkraut video. So do your research before. In my sauerkraut video, I told you that I had kind of already researched this a lot, even though I had never even thought of ever hopefully coming into contact with sauerkraut, but I did. So do your research, and then I try to print stuff out and have like a chicken Bible, because I cannot fathom holding my chicken and doing all these things with my hands and grabbing my phone and scroll and figure out where I bookmark stuff, and oh my gosh, I just annoy myself so much. So print stuff out, laminate it, put it in a binder, go old school. Old school, I promise, is better than new age, for me at least anyways, so that when you go out to the coop one day and half of your chicken has been pecked off by another one because chicken probs, you can at least start somewhere as you're panicking instead of being like, oh my gosh, I have to go on Facebook and ask everybody. It's just so much easier. I've linked below some of my favorite Facebook groups that have really helped me, that I would recommend you become a part of, so that you have kind of this community to ask the questions to. There's a lot of rude people in the world when it comes to chickens, but there's some really good people on these forums that will truly help you when you just need help and you don't need someone to be judgy. You know what I mean? I feel like we just need more groups of that, like normal, for normal issues. Anyway, so, but I've linked that out down below, a couple of the groups that I like. And then on Instagram, I feel like I've become friends with, like, they're my chicken friends. I don't know them in real life, but they have been lifelines for me when I've needed someone to understand how I'm feeling about my chickens, because I feel like if you don't have chickens, you do not get it. When I get sad about something that's happened to them, or I need help or guidance. So I've just linked some things down below for you to hopefully help you kind of build your resource bank. Number 5, plan your coop and your run. So this is my coop, this is my run. And this coop we found the plans for online somewhere. I don't have them anymore. I would link them for you below. And build a good coop. These coops that Tractor Supply sells, Wayfair, I've seen them. They're really thin, prefab. They'll run you several $100s, $400 to $600, and they are junk. You will go through one rainstorm, that wood will start swelling, and you will be a sad puppy. And it's just not room for chickens. You could have maybe one chicken in there happily. So build a coop, find someone to build you a coop. There's people all over Facebook who are building them now. If you're not handy, do that. You can build them out of pallets, you can build them out of really anything. I just wouldn't build them out of kind of prefab materials. This one cost us probably $600 to $700 to build. This cloth back here is hardware cloth, and that is your number one thing that you need to build with, but I'll talk more about my coop and my run in episode 2 for my coop tour. Decide if you're going to free range them, do they need to stay in the run all the time, and kind of build your space about that, and then think about how many chickens you want and then double it. You always go bigger. You'll never regret going bigger, but you will 100% regret going too small, because you're gonna lose chickens, you're gonna get more chickens, there's gonna be days when you can't let them out maybe, like there's just so many variables. So go bigger than you think you want to, and I promise you'll be thankful. Prepare for the inevitable heartbreak. When I got chickens, I never thought in a million years I would lose so many to so many different things. I've been doing this for 2 years. I have 7 chickens right now. At one point I had 8. It's kind of fluctuated, and I've over time lost 3 chickens. And I guess it's not that bad. It's all been trial and error. My first 2 girls I lost was because of heat stroke. 100% my fault. And I think that's the toughest thing to swallow, is a lot of times it could have been preventable if you had only known better. So in some of my videos coming up, I'll talk about things to prepare, like to get you through a summer. Summer is super hard on chickens, so I will have a summer series coming to help you prepare for that if you're in a hot climate. We're on the East Coast, super humid. The summers are pretty brutal, and chickens do not appreciate heat. So I'll talk about that in another video. When Mabel, my Wyandotte, because of course they're all named, she had passed away, I did everything in my power to save her. I mean, everything, for a solid week. And I was probably 37 weeks pregnant, and I just couldn't save her. But I took her to have a necropsy done so that I could know maybe what it was for next time if this happened to me again. And the results were kind of inconclusive because I had frozen her before I could get to them. I couldn't get there right away. It's way about an hour away from me, and I couldn't get there until then. And when you freeze a body like that, things kind of happen in there. So I'll talk about more about what they found out about her in another video, because there's a lot I want to say, and it's just too much for this video. But definitely this would kind of fall in your research portion. Find places where you can go take your birds to get a necropsy done so that you know how to help your flock if it's something you don't know what it was and it got the best of them anyways. But to prepare yourself that you're going to lose them, they are going to die. I lost a duck 2 weeks ago to a predator in the woods, and I heard it. The attack, I ran across the grass in my bare feet with my newborn baby, and I was 15 seconds too late. We have a lot of woods around us. It was literally the middle of the day, and I apparently had a false sense of security. So not chickens, but ducks, but very similar because I raised them together. But just to prepare yourself, it's really like that with any animal, right? You just don't know when it's going to happen, but to prepare yourself as much as you can, that this is just part of it. And the one thing that helps me a lot, well, the one thing that helps me is if it keeps happening, I feel like it's easier for me to handle, which is really terrible. But is that these chickens live a really good life. They're just raised as best as I can possibly raise them. They live a good life, and so I try to protect them as much as I can and predator proof as much as I can. Excuse the cute little baby sneezes. But it's just gonna happen, and it breaks my heart and it makes me so sad. But just to prepare yourself, and then surround yourself with people who have chickens so they can give you solidarity hugs when we're allowed to hug again. So that's kind of my last recommendation, is just to prepare yourself as much as you possibly can, because it's going to unfortunately happen, and it sucks big time. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I don't even know if it's helpful, but these were my big tips that I thought would be helpful to you if you're thinking about starting your own flock. And I've linked a bunch of stuff down below of helpful resources, things that I looked at when I was thinking about getting started, where I got my chickens from, where to kind of start looking. And then I will come back with episode 2, which is going to be my Coop and Run tour, so you guys can kind of see what I have for my little flock. And I'll see y'all next time, hopefully when we are no longer quarantining. Bye!